So, for all intents and purposes of this, I'm going to be treating the Deshaun Watson situation as though he's been suspended for a majority of this season. So far, it's 6 games, which already to begin with is a lot of games to be suspended for in an NFL season. 6 games out of an 18-week schedule. You're talking about 6 games, especially against six pretty decent opponents in Carolina, in Atlanta, and then at home against the Jets, Steelers, Chargers, and Patriots. Listen, if the worst team you're going to face, and let's also be clear on this, if you're a real NFL fan, you know this, but especially early in the season, the bad teams haven't shown themselves yet. If you're a really bad team, you've shown it, but you usually don't know who the worst teams in the league are until about week 9, week 10. So teams like the Jets, teams like the Falcons, they're going to have a certain sort of, I don't want to say confidence about themselves, but they're going to have a certain sort of air around themselves where they haven't lost yet in the season. They haven't proved that they're worse than anybody else yet in this part of the season. So even as bad as the Jets roster might look, even as bad as the Jets have been for a majority of the last pretty much my whole life, they're still going to be a tough opponent. And Zach Wilson in his second year has looked like he's done some things early in practice and in training camp to make you believe that he's going to take that next step. But let's keep this with the Cleveland Browns. Like I said, I'm going to assume that the suspension that's going to be handed by the NFL and Roger Goodell is going to extend at least into week 13 for Deshaun Watson. Now, as a Houston Texans fan, I really hope he's back by week 13. In fact, the only game I wish that Deshaun Watson could play this year is the game December 4th in Houston at 1 p.m. Eastern. Because I want to see the Houston Texans destroy Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. I want to see the Houston Texans demolish the Cleveland Browns, embarrass them as a franchise, show them that they are the biggest idiots in the world for trading for Deshaun Watson and giving him the contract that they gave him. I think the best games in NFL history are the games where it's not really a revenge game for the guy going against his former team. It's more of a revenge game for the team hosting the guy that just decided out of nowhere, nah, I'm not going to play for you guys no more. You gave me the second largest contract in NFL history. I'm not going to play. I have a lot of my own personal feelings around Deshaun Watson. And listen, this doesn't just have to do with the fact that he decided he does not want to play for Houston. This has a lot to do with how he actually played when he was the quarterback of the Houston Texans. Just to put my own feelings out there, because I don't want it to just be like, oh, this guy, he hates Deshaun Watson. It's personal. It's not personal. I don't know Deshaun. I don't know Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I mean, technically, I do know what he does off the field. I think everybody at this point knows what he does off the field. He doesn't hold himself to the highest kind of character that I think NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and many other members of the NFL and many fans of the NFL and many players and many coaches and many front office people. I don't think Deshaun Watson holds himself to the sort of standard that many people would wish he would as the starting quarterback of now 2 different NFL franchises. And especially now as the quarterback of a franchise in the Cleveland Browns who has signed guys like Kareem Hunt, who had many off-the-field issues. The Cleveland Browns, for better or for worse, they've been, and to Kareem Hunt's credit, he has stayed completely out of trouble since he went to Cleveland. Completely to his credit. And I'm not going to say I hope that Deshaun Watson stays out of trouble in Cleveland. I hope that he doesn't do what he was doing off the field. So now they're faced with the problem of they're going to be paying this guy as much money as they paid him. They traded away as much as they traded away to get him. And with him possibly sitting out a year, possibly sitting out 2/3 of the year, at least he's going to be sitting out 1/3 of the season. There's a really good chance that this Cleveland Browns team is sitting at a record of 1-5, 2-4. I don't even see this team possibly getting to 3-3 without Deshaun Watson as the quarterback through the first 6 games of the season. I love Jacoby Brissett. I think he was given a raw deal in Miami. I think he was never able to show his true ability as a starting quarterback in Indianapolis. And I think that Jacoby Brissett can do some really good things. He can push the ball deep. He's mobile enough. He can stand in the pocket. I think Jacoby Brissett is a really good backup quarterback. I think when you compare what the weapons are going to be, though, for the Cleveland Browns against many of the teams that they're going to be facing, New England's an incredible defense. Los Angeles just signed possibly one of, if not the best cornerbacks in the NFL in J.C. Jackson. Atlanta has one of the best young cornerbacks in the NFL in A.J. Terrell. Pittsburgh has one of the better defenses in the NFL with last year's sack leader in T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick in the back end, Devin Bush in the middle just patrolling everything. The Jets suck. I can't really tell you much more other than that. And the Carolina Panthers, much like the Pittsburgh Steelers to a much less extent, are a young, up-and-coming defense. And that's not even getting into any. That's getting into one divisional game. That's still with 2 games against Baltimore on the schedule, 2 games against Cincinnati on the schedule, and another game against Pittsburgh on the schedule in Pittsburgh to end the season. They still have to go to Buffalo. They still have to go to Miami. They still have to host Tampa Bay. They got a really tough schedule for this season. And if it's without Deshaun Watson for the whole season, like I said, I think Jacoby Brissett is a really good quarterback. I think he can do some things that many other backup quarterbacks can't do. But what Jacoby Brissett cannot do is lead this team to the playoffs on his own. However, if he's forced to be the starting quarterback for the entire season, that's kind of what he's going to have to do, is take this team to the playoffs on his own if they get there. Because there's nobody else on this roster, there's nobody else on this team other than Myles Garrett, who you can just look at and say, oh, wow, we're going to win because of this guy. We're going to get to the playoffs because of this guy. Look, Cleveland has a roster. This is a roster that has undergone a major overhaul in the span of one season. They've replaced their quarterback. They let go of both Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. They, on the defensive side of the ball, outside of Myles Garrett, have not shown much improvement from many skilled guys that you wish would take just that next step of not just being a really good player at their position, but hopefully getting to a point where they're considered one of the best at the position. And again, Myles Garrett is a top 3 pass rusher at this point. Him, T.J. Watt, and whoever you want to fill in the blank with, that's probably your top 3 pass rushers. And he does it not only in the passing game, he affects the run game as well. So for Cleveland, it's looking really murky. And I just don't want to flat out say they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to suck. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL if Deshaun Watson doesn't play. I think they're not going to be that good of a team even if Deshaun Watson does play. I understand how people view Deshaun Watson. Look, as a guy whose favorite team was the Houston Texans, I watched Deshaun Watson down 21-0 at home celebrate a first down with 4 minutes left on the clock, down 21-0. I've watched Deshaun Watson time after time after time after time run outside the pocket with the ball in his hands for at least 4 seconds, not throw the ball away, try to force something that is not there, and have it backfire. I've watched these things over and over again. And look, the best players don't start an entire season at quarterback and lead their team to a 4-12 record. If the Houston Texans could lose with Deshaun Watson in the next season, they proved they could almost win the exact same amount of games without Deshaun Watson. In fact, I think they won the same exact amount of games. They went 4-13 the year without Deshaun Watson. They went 4-12 with Deshaun Watson. I think that's right. I mean, am I right? Am I wrong? Yeah. So, and look, that's after they got rid of the guy in Bill O'Brien that everybody said was the problem. That's after they got rid of Bill O'Brien. It's not a really good team in Cleveland. Even with Deshaun Watson, it's not going to be a really good team. And it's going to be a long season for Cleveland. It's already been like Cleveland, the season could end now, and Cleveland has had the longest season in the entire NFL. And it's what they deserve. It's what they deserve for what they've done, how they've handled the Deshaun Watson situation, how they've handled everything this offseason. It's exactly what they deserve.